What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for your week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season. Picks straight up and versus the spread. In this video, I'm going to break down and preview each and every game this week in the NFL, give you my thoughts on every game, and give you, of course, my pick for every game. Before I give you my picks straight up and versus the spread for week 15 of the 2020 NFL season, make sure you do spike that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL picks each and every week here on the channel. Also, get in that comment section, whether you're here live with me right now or after the fact. Let me know your week 15 questions, or just leave your opinion. Let me know your thoughts on week 15. Which game are you most excited to see this week? Which matchup are you going to be pumped to watch? How's your fantasy team doing? Let me know in the comments. Let me know anything that you think is insightful in the comment section, and make sure you're in that live comment section. I want to hear all your picks and your thoughts on this week. Last week in the NFL, I went 10-6, both versus the spread and straight up. And so far this season, I am 144-60 straight up. And my spread record is 120-84. So pretty much lately, we've been pretty good in terms of our picks, especially straight up. I've been doing very well this season, and I'm proud of it. Versus the spread, pretty good as well. You guys know, if you've tuned into my best bets videos, that I'm doing pretty well over there as well. We went 3-2 in the best bets this week. We are 11-4 overall over the last 3 weeks, and we're looking to keep that going as well. In this video, I don't provide my best bets, but I will give you kind of the insight overall and a more in-depth look at each and every game and kind of what I think about each matchup. So let's waste no more time, guys. Get in that comment section. Make sure you do spike that like button. And let's start with the Thursday night football matchup, which is the LA Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are minus a field goal in this game. This game, I feel, is going to be a shootout. Now, there were reports earlier today, that the Raiders may be missing some defensive players. Whether they are or not, it wouldn't really make my decision any more difficult in terms of if this game was going to be high scoring or not. Both of these teams, both of their defenses have struggled a lot to defend just about any offense this year. The LA Chargers, their defense has had some good outings, especially lately. They did pretty well versus the Bills. They did pretty well versus Atlanta. Of course, they got ran over by New England. As long as the Chargers' special teams doesn't absolutely blow this game for them, the defense will do fairly well, I believe, in slowing down the Raiders. Because the Raiders, each and every week, they're a good offense. They put up points. They put up mid-20s, low 30s, basically each and every week, no matter who they're playing. And I believe that to be the case here. But if the Chargers are going to win this game and ultimately get the upset and play spoiler here, then I do think that the defense will be the reason why. The Chargers are going to win this game. It's because their defense plays better than the Raiders' defense. The Raiders won the first game. It was very close. I believe it actually came down to the last play of the game in the end zone, and Justin Herbert threw it up, and it was incomplete. This time around, initially I wanted to sway towards the Chargers, and I almost feel like I should sway that way again. But the Raiders are definitely still fighting in playoff contention right now. They are looking to at least hang on to their hopes of making the playoffs, which are getting slimmer and slimmer as the weeks go by. It's mostly Miami fighting with Baltimore, or trying to hang on over top of Baltimore right now in that wild card. The Colts are pretty much solidified. The Titans in the AFC South, they're probably both going to make it. The Browns look to be basically clinched there in the wild card. It's the Raiders as a distant third in that race to get the last wild card spot, but it is more incentive than the Chargers. So that's a big reason why I'm leaning towards the Raiders. Again, my initial insight, my initial thought was Chargers lost a close one the first time around. They do have the slightly better defense, in my opinion. The offenses are both good. I feel the Chargers are slightly more explosive, while the Raiders, they're better with ball possession, running the football. But I think the overall point, the reason I'm going to go with the Raiders is because of John Gruden. I think the difference between the two coaching staffs and the head coaches in particular, Anthony Lynn and John Gruden, I like Gruden a lot more. I feel like each and every week he gives his team an opportunity offensively to put up points. And even though the defense hasn't been that great this year, the offense is really, really solid when they're healthy. Now, they're not exactly 100%. Henry Ruggs is not going to be playing in this game. That means more work for Nelson Aguilar and those other receivers. The Chargers defensively have performed best when they've been able to get pressure after opposing passers and quarterbacks. And I don't know if they'll be able to do that versus a Raiders offensive line that's very, very good. So I'm going to take the Raiders to win this game because they have more to fight for. I believe they have the better coaching and they make less mistakes overall throughout a game. So I'm going to take the Raiders. I expect it to be very close. It could go either way. I could see the Chargers playing spoiler here, but I'm just going to go with the team with more incentive to get the W. So I'm going to say that the Raiders end up actually sweeping this series of games, which I'm afraid to say that, but I believe it's going to be the case. So I'm going to go with the Raiders here. The next game is on Saturday, which is the early game on Saturday. The Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos. Buffalo is -7 in this game. I believe it started at 6.5, might have been 6. The Bills are, of course, in my opinion, the second best team in football, and they have the second biggest margin for error. I made this rant on the bottom line. If you missed it, go back and check it out. But basically, the two top teams in football, in my opinion, are the Chiefs and then the Bills. And because I feel both of them have very wide margins for error. So when they're not exactly playing their best football, they're still capable of beating you because of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, the big playmaking ability, the ability to beat you down the field, the ability to quickly score points, to get back into a game, to be clutch in those big moments. And the Bills have a bit of that. I feel that people are overlooking now that Josh Allen has taken that next step into elite territory as a quarterback. So even if they go into this game in Denver on a short week, and they're trailing or they're not playing their best, I still feel they can come out the winner. So maybe Denver ends up covering this game. I could definitely see that because maybe they make it more competitive than people think. But I'm not going to go that way with my pick. I'm taking the Bills. The reason I think the Bills will win and cover is because I believe the Bills' passing attack, their weapons at receiver, will just be too much to handle for the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos really have great cover corners. I think Fangio is a great defensive mind. He's good at scheming it up. But Denver's pass rush doesn't really concern me. They're good at stopping the run, defending the run, and being big up front, but I don't think that really matters when you're playing this passing attack. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, I think those guys are mismatches versus these corners. And I can't count on Drew Lock consistently to put up points. I think he's going to have maybe moments in this game where he makes plays. But the Bills' defense has been playing better, more consistent football, and they're trying to get more refined the closer we get to January. So I'm going to take the Bills to win this game and to cover. Again, another team with more incentive here. But I just believe they're the better team by far. Even though it's on the road, it's a short week, it might be a letdown spot for the Bills. Their margin for error will allow them to come out the winner here. So I'm going to go with Buffalo. The next game is the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay -9, nearly a 10-point spread, basically, it is a 2-possession spread, but nearly a double-digit spread here. Carolina heading to Green Bay on Saturday. That is the Saturday night game. I'll have a close eye on this game because I know that a lot of my fantasy players are going to be in this game, specifically on the Green Bay side. So I'll definitely have my two eyes on this matchup for sure. But the Green Bay Packers, they're kind of on a roll right now just on offense. They seem to be one of the more efficient offenses in football. I don't think they're the best offense in the league. I think that belongs to Kansas City. I do believe, though, that they're the most efficient. They use the most ability to combine time of possession, the ability to dictate pace of play, the ability to kind of control the way the game is going to be played, basically. Dictate pace of play. But through their running game, through their passing game, I don't think an offense does a better job of really just putting the game in their court, essentially. That is why Green Bay is so successful. That's why I think Green Bay is so good this year in terms of their record. Is I don't think they're the most talented team in the league. I think there are more talented teams. But I do believe that Green Bay, what Matt LaFleur has done with the offense and his evolution of this offense, the evolution of the play calling and scheme, combined with Aaron Rodgers taking it up a notch into MVP territory and conversation, has allowed Green Bay to be this kind of dominant force in the NFC. And I've been critical of them because I have not seen them beat many good teams, and that's just factual. If you want to come at me for that and call me a hater, it is what it is, but that's just factual. But the reason Green Bay doesn't lose to bad teams is because they always dictate pace of play, and they always play with the ball in their court, and it doesn't allow a worse team to overcome them and play the game that they want to play. And that's why it always gives them a chance to blow someone out or beat a worse team than them. The only teams that can beat them are just teams that are more talented, as talented, or have a good day, basically. You know, you're talking about the Colts, who kind of got lucky, and the Bucs, who basically are more talented than Green Bay, and they were able to play their style of game. But Green Bay, in this game, I don't think Carolina has anything really to fight for here. They've been a feisty team all year. They've been a good story, in my opinion, being better than I think we gave them credit for before the season. Overall, the coaching staff has done a good job. I'm actually really intrigued to see how Brady attacks this Green Bay defense, because even though the Panthers probably will not win this game, if they can be successful, whether that's through running the football, passing the football, through their offensive approach, it might give a few points of emphasis for the playoffs for teams to attack Green Bay. Because teams defensively with the Packers, of course, they've had the run defense issue for basically the last 2 years. But I do think that a really underrated and up-and-coming offensive mind that is in Carolina can maybe partly help expose the Packers defense to allow other coaches come playoff time to maybe open up and strategize a way to just pick apart this defense come January. So that's what I'll be most intrigued to watch, is like, how do the Panthers offense, how do they attack this defense, and how successful are they doing so? On the other side, I don't see much resistance coming from the Panthers defense. They're just not very talented. As much as they will try to put together a game plan, it's just not going to be overall that successful. I don't see Brian Burns going off in this game, David Bakhtiari being there, and just an overall good pass protecting unit on the offensive line. Aaron Jones should have his way with a bad run defense, and they really don't have the corners to defend Devontae Adams. I expect Rodgers to throw for another 3 to 4 touchdowns. I expect their running game in Green Bay to get back on track, which has been a little bit below average as of late. I expect that to be a big piece of them kind of winding out the clock and winning this game in the second half for an easy 10-point victory. So I'm going to go with the Packers winning this game and covering, although I'm not extremely confident about the cover because I do believe the Panthers can make this game competitive through their offensive performance. But overall, I'm going to take Green Bay at home to win by double digits and to cover. The next game, now on Sunday, from Saturday to Sunday. I like Saturday football. What do you guys think? I kind of like Saturday football. I don't know what you guys think about that. I enjoyed it last year. If you guys remember, one of these teams in this game played a Saturday game versus the Bucs and Jameis Winston, and it had to have been one of the funniest games of football I have ever seen in my life. If you know what I'm talking about, get in that comment section, let me know. But man, that game was hilarious. Jameis Winston and the Houston Texans. That game last year, I think that's why I like Saturday football. I believe also all the way back in 2007 with the Patriots, I could be wrong here, but I believe that was a Saturday night game where they played the Giants for the undefeated record. I think that was a Saturday night game. And ever since then, I have like a soft spot for Saturday night football in the NFL, not just in college. I know a lot of people kind of have a problem with it because of college football, because they're fans of both. But for me, I like Saturday. I like mixing it up, and I like having fun watching football on Saturdays too, not just on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, and also this year, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and basically every other day of the week. So this game is the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are favored by a touchdown and an extra point. This game, I feel last time around was much closer than I think this game is going to be. When we look at Houston, they have a lot of injuries. I'm not sure if Brandon Cooks is going to be playing. Of course, we know Will Fuller has been suspended. He's not going to be active, of course. Basically, I don't know who's available on Houston. They have Justin Reed, who's also done for the year on defense, who's probably their second best defensive player on their team, or at least in the top three. Houston just is lacking a lot of talent right now. I get it. It's Deshaun Watson, and to me, Deshaun Watson's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. But how much can Deshaun Watson actually do here? I mean, how much can he actually do? We saw him get blown out by Chicago last week because of the front seven and the pressure that Chicago was able to put on him and basically disrupt their entire offense from that standpoint. While Indianapolis can do the same thing, right? Indianapolis has DeForest Buckner. They have Justin Houston. They have a solid defensive line. D'Amico Autry as well, who's pretty good. Of course, the linebackers there. I get it's a divisional game, and there could be a close one from that standpoint. And I understand that Houston nearly won the game last time, but I don't see that happening. The way Phillip Rivers is performing, the way he has been so efficient, getting rid of the football, getting it to the right playmaker. Frank Reich's calling good scripts each and every game. I feel like they're starting to get their run game going with Taylor on the ground, who's kind of had not a resurgence, but sort of a breakout over this last half of the season. Very quietly the last few games, Taylor has been really, really good. Kind of what we expected at the beginning of the year. But since it didn't happen at the beginning of the year, people are kind of forgetting about him. Of course, Nyheim Hines I like a lot. Pittman's involved. Actually, T.Y. Hilton has been far more involved lately than he was earlier in the year. Like I was saying, like T.Y.'s done. He's nowhere near the player he used to be. But hey, these last couple of games, he's been really, really good, or at least involved or looking like the old T.Y. Hilton. If they can get T.Y. Hilton, that element of downfield magic involved, along with Taylor on the ground, this team can do something in the playoffs. I think that's what they're building towards right now is Taylor, Hilton, Rivers, this offensive line. That's the foundation, running the football, allowing Phillip Rivers to be comfortable, his classic crossing routes all over the field. I just feel like the Texans defense that's very undermanned has really not enough to defend the versatility and the multiple sets that Frank Reich's offense can throw at them. I feel the Colts will score 30 in this game. And then when you look on the other side, I don't feel the Texans can keep up with the lack of playmakers Deshaun Watson has around him. And then an offensive line that has been good, has been better than recent seasons, but in other games has also been taken advantage of, like last week. That's what basically allowed the Texans to be blown out of the water. So I believe the Colts will win, and I'm going to also say the Colts cover. Again, guys, week 15, week 16, week 17, it is about incentive to me a lot of the times. And I understand that this is a divisional game, but I've seen many divisional games from week 15 to week 17 that can become blowouts because the other team simply is not putting forth the effort that they would in a week 4 or a week 5 or a week 6. So I'm going to take Indianapolis here to win. They are moving towards the playoffs and playing, in my opinion, their best football of the season. So good for Indianapolis. It's nice to see. The next game is the Jacksonville Jags and the Baltimore Ravens. I will not spend too much time on this game. I overall feel like the Ravens are looking pretty good on offense. I think that's the main thing that we can say here is that Baltimore, they have found something, a formula on offense, or at least they've gained a confidence. And I believe that a lot of it has just stemmed from Lamar Jackson being back. He is back to being the MVP Lamar Jackson. Whether he was pooping or not, he came back, he made the big play, and they won the game versus Cleveland, which was a huge game for them. That's only a game that's going to help them and basically propel them forward into this potential dark horse playoff run that I've been speaking on for the last couple of weeks that could happen. If there is one dark horse wildcard team in the AFC or the NFC that could win 2 games in the playoffs, I believe it could be Baltimore. Now, they equally could lose in the first round. But what I'm trying to say is that with Lamar Jackson playing in MVP form, playing with the chip on his shoulder that we saw versus the Browns, they're very capable of not only blowing a team out like the Jags, but also beating a better team than them because Lamar is just special in that way. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I think the number one thing we need to see here from the Ravens is their defense performing at a better level? Last week, I get it, Cleveland's offense is good, Baker's playing well, Stefanski's great, but it needs to play better. Up front, in the secondary, they need to play better. I think this week, it's a confidence builder for their defense. They need it badly. I think Baltimore wins this game. I also think Baltimore covers. It's a big number. I'm not afraid. I'm going to take B more. They proved earlier this year that even though they weren't playing their best, they can still cover games like this. So I'm going to take Lamar to continue his surge late in the season and the Ravens to continue their surge towards January. The Ravens win, the Ravens cover. Next, the stream of the week, potentially between myself and Kevin Durcan. I've been wanting to do this one. Hopefully we can still do it. I am really excited for this game, regardless of if we do this stream or not. I feel like this game's going to be really good, and it's kind of funny because this is the exact opposite position of where the Patriots were last season. You know, like, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar. So, New England was the number 2 seed in Week 17. Miami came into their house with no playoff aspirations and upset the Patriots in New England. This year, the Dolphins need to basically win out. Not exactly, but they basically do to make the playoffs. And this time, it's in Miami's house. New England's coming to town. I'm taking New England. I am taking New England not because I'm a Patriots fan, but because I actually believe they're going to win the game. Now, they won the first game in Week 1. They won the game pretty decisively, actually. It was by double digits, and New England dominated the game. It should have been maybe by 3 possessions. But, of course, it's different from Week 1. Miami's playing better football. They've found themselves defensively since that game, obviously. It's a long time ago, so it's not really much to do with that game. But the way I look at this matchup, Miami is very hurt right now. They might be missing multiple players on offense and on defense, from Mike Gesicki, their tight end. Devontae Parker might not play. Their running back might not play. Gaskin. Their defense is a little banged up in the secondary. And New England is not fully healthy, but they're a lot more healthy than Miami, including a Julian Edelman coming back to practice today, which is very interesting. I don't know if he'll play this week. I doubt it. But just the fact that he's coming back, this is a side point. The fact that Julian Edelman is coming back when he pretty much knows that New England's not going to make the playoffs, is pretty inspiring. I mean, you see Christian McCaffrey, he's probably not going to play the rest of the year. Julio Jones, I don't think he's going to play the rest of the year. Like, a lot of these players that are not in playoff competition or contention right now, they're not coming back to play. And that just speaks to Julian Edelman and his leadership and work ethic. But in this game, I don't think... The thing is, New England looks really bad in certain games because when they play certain opponents, like they did last week versus the Rams, they don't match up well. But in games where they do match up well, they actually look like a good team. And this is just the case for this game. I don't think Miami is actually a good matchup for the Patriots. Now, I think this game's going to be really close, and I do think it's going to be defensive. But I think New England matches up fairly well with Miami. I think New England can run the ball on Miami, which is what they want to do offensively. I think they can get enough from their passing game through a lot of play action. Cam had success in the first outing. I expect him to have some success on the ground in this outing. And what I want to see from New England's offense is more running with Cam. I need to see that. But defensively, this is again Bill Belichick facing a rookie quarterback where he often thrives. He rarely ever loses to a rookie quarterback. And he often confuses that rookie quarterback. The Miami Dolphins do not have a good offensive line, and if those weapons are indeed out, there's not much to threaten them as well. The Dolphins also don't have a good rushing attack, which New England's not good at stopping the run, as we saw versus the Rams. But if Miami's not able to run the ball, I don't know how successful they're going to be passing the ball. So I think New England's going to win. It's not because I think they're the better team. I think Miami's the better team. But I think New England's a difficult matchup for the Dolphins, and I think there's enough motivation there for New England to play spoiler here where they can get this upset. So they're just short dogs, 2.5. It's not even a field goal. But I'm going to take the Patriots to win, and I will obviously take the 2.5. So that game will be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. San Francisco is -3 in this game, and this is the dilemma I have with this game. So I really like, obviously, Kyle Shanahan, and I love what he does offensively, and it's made me a believer in the 49ers despite the injuries that they've had. And a couple of times, including last week, it let me down. The 49ers have let me down a couple times. And I said to myself after they lost to Washington that I would no longer bet on a Nick Mullins-led team. But when you look at this game, 49ers have no reason not to win this game, to be quite honest with you. I know that Dallas won a game last week where they blew out the Bengals, but it is the Bengals. Here's the difference, in my opinion, between the Niners playing the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas cannot stop the run or set the edge, like at all. And when you play the 49ers, you need to be able to do both. The Niners have had their most success this year just overall when they've been able to run the ball. And I feel like this is a huge mismatch. So while I've said that I don't think that I want to be betting on Nick Mullins because I think he just costs the Niners too many games, I don't know if Nick Mullins is really at all going to be a factor in this game because I don't think he needs to be. I think the Niners will be able to run the ball effectively in this game and take the football essentially out of Nick Mullins' hands. And on the flip side, I'm not very confident that Dallas's offensive line can hold up in this game. I still think San Francisco has a pretty good defensive line, along with a pretty good defense in itself. And we know that Dallas is pretty prone to turnovers, whether that's Andy Dalton or that Zeke fumbling the football. I think the Niners are just the better coached team here. And I think the fundamental mismatch of the 49ers run game versus the Dallas run defense is the reason they win and they cover. This is not a super relevant game. I don't think the Niners are still in playoff conversation. They might be, but I don't think so. Now, George Kittle might be on his way back. I don't think it will be this week, but possibly next week. I think the Niners are going to win. I think the Niners are actually going to win quite easily here, unless Andy Dalton is able to have a really good game and he's able to hit his receivers on the outside consistently, I don't see them doing much on offense, and I don't see them doing much to resist the 49ers rushing attack. So I'm going to take San Francisco to win the game. I'd be kind of surprised if Dallas won this game, to be honest, even though the Niners aren't a very good team. Next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay is favored by 6, possibly 7 now. It could be 7. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, and the Bucs won versus the Vikings last week. It was a weird way to win. They didn't have the football a lot. The Vikings possessed a lot of the football. Bailey missed 3 field goals in the game, although one was from 50-plus yards, so I don't really count that as a missed opportunity because we knew he was going to miss that. He also missed an extra point. But the Bucs defense came through when they needed to at the end of the game. They closed it out with a fearless and ferocious pass rush, and they forced turnovers, sacks, and pressures of Kirk Cousins. They did a really good job on Adam Thielen and on Justin Jefferson in that game. And on the other side of the ball, Tom Brady had a lot of time to operate and work and threaten the defense down the field, hitting Scotty Miller for a deep touchdown. Gronk contributed, Evans contributed, AB contributed in the game. Ronald Jones looked really good running the ball. Ronald Jones has COVID. I don't know if he has it or if he's just in close contact, but either way, he possibly could not play this week, which would probably thrust Leonard Fournette back into the lineup. LaShawn McCoy took away Leonard Fournette's snaps last week as the primary pass downs back, which was a big improvement over Leonard Fournette. I think Ronald Jones not playing in this game might actually be a blessing in disguise. Not to say that Ronald Jones isn't great, because Ronald Jones is very good and underrated. But to beat Atlanta, you need to pass the ball. So that being said, Tampa Bay running the ball would just be running into the strength of the Atlanta defense instead of threatening them outside with the passing game. So I actually think it gives more incentive for Tom Brady and the pass offense to be the main focus of the attack in this game. On the defensive side, I feel like the Bucs, where they can really shut down Atlanta is by getting pressure with their front four versus Atlanta's bad offensive line, who's also kind of beat up and might be missing a couple starters. Julio Jones probably won't play in this game, and Calvin Ridley also is injured. So accounting for all of those things, Tampa Bay being far more healthy here, it is a divisional game, it is in Atlanta. I think Tampa Bay wins. I also lean towards a Tampa Bay cover here, and I could see this game being a close Tampa win if Julio is active and if Tampa Bay's defense isn't able to create pressure. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Tampa Bay is actually going to make this a frustrating game for Matt Ryan. The same way it was a frustrating game for Matt Ryan playing the Chargers defense, I think it will be the same thing versus the Bucs. And we know that Atlanta can't really run the ball to supplement the passing attack. So it's just going to allow the Bucs to kind of tee off in the pass rush. So I feel the Bucs are going to win this game pretty comfortably. And I do think it's going to be like 31-17, 31-20. They should win by double digits here, and they should be able to cover. Again, it's a divisional game, so who knows? It could be close. But the way these two teams match up, along with the injuries, I'm going to say that Tampa wins. Again, I've been saying that I feel like Tampa needs to continue to win here. They need to continue to build momentum. They need to continue to build chemistry. And they need to continue to show us that they are a team ready for these playoffs, and they're continuing to find their identity. I think that's very important for this team. And I think they showcase that once again in Atlanta. Next game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Washington football team. This game is really interesting. This game is in Washington, right? It might be in Seattle. I'm not sure. Throw that out. Home field doesn't even matter anyways. But regardless, Seattle is -5.5 in this game. It could be up to 6 now, actually. Seattle, they have the better quarterback, clearly, and we don't even know if Alex Smith is going to be playing. Where I'm a bit concerned for Seattle here is Washington's front seven is just an absolute wrecking crew, and they could make life difficult on Russell Wilson the way that some other teams have this season. including the New York Giants of all teams. The Seahawks had a really good game last week versus the Jets. I understand it was versus the Jets, but they got back on track. Russell Wilson looked good. Their passing game looked good. Chris Carson, the run game looked good. The defense looked better. I think Washington, obviously, it heavily depends if Alex Smith plays, because I don't think Haskins is good at all. And I think he is a big, even towards Alex Smith, even in comparison to Alex Smith, he's a big downgrade. I just think Russell Wilson is too good. I can't bet against Russell Wilson here. I just can't. But I will take the points with Washington. I'm going to take the +6 here in this game, +5.5. I will take it with Washington. I think it will be a close game, but I think Seattle finds a way, as they do a lot of the time, to come out with the win. Washington is playing good football. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat San Francisco. Their defense has been the reason why. I believe their defense is the reason this is close, but I will take Seattle to win the game because they have the far better quarterback, the far better weaponry, and they always find a way to win these close games. So I will take Seattle. The Detroit Lions and the Tennessee Titans. I really can't pick this game for you guys because I don't know if Matthew Stafford is playing or not. I assume he will not. Now Frank Ragnow actually has, a broken throat? Something like that? A fractured throat? I don't even know how that's possible. But I will take the Titans regardless of whether Stafford is there or not. The Lions, once again, played competitively versus Green Bay. I thought it was a good game from them, mostly. But they're not going to win this game. They have no incentive to win this game. I don't think Stafford's going to play. If Stafford doesn't play this game, I will tell you this. It does not matter what the spread is. I'll take the Titans. People don't realize how big of a difference Matthew Stafford is to the Lions comparison to any quarterback that they put out there, Chase Daniel or any backup. Stafford's the reason this team is competitive at all. Without him, they are the worst team in the league, and it's not relatively close. So I will take the Titans. I don't care if the spread's 20. I will take the Titans to cover the game. And I'll probably also bet on it. So I'm going to say 34-10 for the Tennessee Titans. Next, the New York Jets at the LA Rams. Rams are favored by 17.5 points. That sounds about right. The Rams, I don't really see how the Jets are going to score on their defense at all. Now, the only way I could see the Jets being competitive if the Rams actually allow this to be competitive. I really don't see how the Jets can at all score 10 points. I mean, unless the Rams just show up and they're asleep at the wheel, then maybe the Jets will score 10 points. Now, they got rid of their kicker, so that's a good thing. They got a new kicker in there, so hopefully they have somebody that can actually at least make a field goal. But the Rams should easily win this game. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this game was kind of close not close at the beginning, because I think the Jets defense could be slightly competitive early in the game. But I think that as the game continues to wear on, the Rams are just going to continue to plug away and just pull away, and that's going to end up being a blowout. So it's going to be a boring one for Rams fans, but it's going to be, of course, a victory. I'll say the Rams win 30-9. I don't know, something like that. I'm not willing to take the Jets. I don't care if I lose here. I'm also not going to be betting on this game, but I'm not willing to take the Jets after last week. They lost by 100 points to the Seahawks. So I'll take the Rams to win and the Rams to cover. Game's important for the Rams, too, to get a good playoff seed. Next, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is probably one of the more interesting matchups of the week. Kyler Murray versus Jalen Hurts. Of course, history kind of there. And both Oklahoma quarterbacks of the last couple of seasons. The Eagles played really good football last week, in part because Jalen Hurts didn't play stupid football like Carson Wentz. He actually protected the football. He made plays with his legs. He made a couple plays with his arm. And it was enough to beat the Saints and Taysom Hill. This game, I think, is basically going to come down to how well the Eagles' defensive line performs and how well they are able to disrupt Kyler Murray's timing, both as a runner and as a passer. The Cardinals, I think, after their win versus the Giants, they showcased that their defense might be slightly underrated with their ability to disrupt quarterbacks, get pressure, create sacks and turnovers, and actually win a game because of their effort. And I don't think that necessarily can be dismissed versus an Eagles offense that to me isn't very good. But I still think defenses are going to try to figure out what exactly the Eagles offense is all about. The Saints had a puzzling approach to defending Jalen Hurts last week. I don't know if I can expect that 2 weeks in a row because I think at least you have one game of film that you can say, okay, we're going to try to take away this and this, specifically the legs of Hurts, and try to attempt to make him just a drop back passer. Now, how effective the Cardinals will be doing that is interesting. Now, they have faced like Cam Newton and Russell Wilson. They have faced Daniel Jones. They have faced some guys that are mobile enough to make plays with their legs, and they've done a fairly good job. But I don't know if this game, I want to pick the Cardinals here because I just think their ability to make more plays on offense is probably going to be the case. But I do think the Eagles can make this one close and competitive. When you look at the Eagles, of course, their defensive line was really, really good last week. I think it can do that again, and I think it's a mismatch. Their defensive line versus the Cardinals' offensive line, I think is definitely a mismatch. And at least you do have Darius Slay to be competitive facing DeAndre Hopkins on the outside, which that's always a key matchup to facing the Cardinals as well. So I do believe the Eagles will be close in this game, but I just don't know if I can say that Hurts is going to outperform Kyler Murray. I don't think I can say that. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win in a close game, but I will take the points here with the Eagles. The next game is the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are favored by 3. Vikings won the first matchup. Even in a loss by double digits, I was fairly impressed with the Vikings' ability to do what they do as successfully as they were able to. Right? The Bucs are the best defense versus the run this year, and the Vikings were still able to run the ball. Although it didn't amount to many points, the Vikings still showed that even though they faced a team that was a bad matchup, they still hung in the game. So that earned some respect from my perspective. Even though they didn't cover, they still earned some respect. The Bears, again, have given the Vikings fits over the years. The Vikings won the first game, but it was very close. And if not for a really bad Nick Foles and offense, the Bears arguably could have won that game. I expect this one to again be very close. I could see Chicago pulling the upset here. But I don't know, man. It's really tough. This is perhaps the toughest game to predict all week. Because I could see it going either way. It's a divisional game. These two teams are very familiar with each other. I'm going to take the Vikings again. I took the Bears the first time, and I was disappointed. I think the Vikings having more playmakers and having just a better offense, probably the reason they win, but I don't know, man. That's actually tough. I might sway my pick because I have liked the way that Chicago has been calling plays. I like the way, as bad as he is, I like the way Trubisky has been playing. I like Montgomery, how he's playing. This is tough. I honestly, the way I'm talking, I feel like I should take the Bears. But I don't really know. It's really tough. This is a tough game. I think the Vikings are the better team. They've been playing good football. It's only 3 points, so it's hard to say one team's going to win and one team's not going to, the other team, they're going to cover. Like, you know what? I'll take the Bears. They seem to have a formula defensively that does a good job versus Minnesota. And the way their offense has been playing, suggests that they can score 20 points versus a bad defense in Minnesota. So I will take the Bears in the upset. I'm not confident about it whatsoever. I will not be placing any money on it. And I will not be shocked if Minnesota wins. Again, I like what I saw from the Vikings despite the loss last week. But I'm going to ride with Trubisky because he has proven that when he's in, he's better than Nick Foles. And the team is better with him than with Nick Foles. So I will take the Bears to win this game. You better not disappoint me, Nicholas Gill, or else. Okay? Bears. Sunday night football. Is this Sunday night football? I don't even know. Or is this at 1 p.m.? No, this is Sunday night football. Never mind. Not Sunday night football. 1 p.m. football, or 4 p.m. football, or 3 p.m. football, depending on what time zone you're in. The Kansas City Chiefs travel to New Orleans to play Drew Brees or Taysom Hill. We have no idea yet. So I will break down the game if both players play. Okay? The Chiefs are, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. They have the most margin for error in the NFL, which means they do not have to play all 60 minutes at 100% to win this game versus any team in the league. The Saints, disappointing loss to Philadelphia. Extremely disappointing. If Taysom Hill plays this game, I'm pretty convinced the Chiefs will come out the winner because I just don't know if Taysom Hill can keep up in a shootout versus a Patrick Mahomes and a Chiefs offense. I just don't see that happening. Now, the way that the game would break down would be interesting because I do think there would be aspects to Taysom Hill being the quarterback that would actually give the Chiefs some issues. Now, the Saints with Taysom, I guess, would be fairly similar to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, their ability to run the read option and the triple option, all that stuff. And the Chiefs have done a good job slowing that down. So that makes me believe that if the Saints were to take that power run approach, the Chiefs would do a good enough job for the offense to separate and win the game. So I do believe that even with Taysom, and even if the Saints were able to get a solid run game going, I don't think they would be able to get a good enough run game where they're able to control the game, they're able to play on their terms, they're able to win the game. If it's Drew Brees, I actually think this is not a bad matchup for the Kansas City defense. I get that Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas might be mismatch issues for the defense, and Sean Payton will find ways to move the ball with Drew Brees. But we have seen that the Chiefs' defense has done a pretty good job versus Tom Brady the last 2 years. A similar pocket, timing-based quarterback. So in that way, I feel like the Chiefs and Spagnuolo always have good plans for these pocket-based, timing-based, accuracy-based quarterbacks. The Saints can win the game if Alvin Kamara has a really good game, and through Alvin Kamara, in the passing game and the running game, and Michael Thomas, they're able to control the pace of play, they're able to control the clock, they're able to control the possession. But I don't know that the Chiefs the Saints defense is able to slow down the Chiefs enough, right? I think Spagnuolo, his ability to throw in some mixed, blitzes and drop this guy, and Chris Jones making a play or two, Clark making a play or two in the pass rush, them having a pretty underrated secondary with Tyrann Mathieu. I'd actually be interested to see if they put Tyrann Mathieu on Alvin Kamara. Watch out for that. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. But I think Spagnuolo will do enough in his approach to slow down the Saints in key third downs, in key red zone. The Saints will move the ball, but I think the Chiefs can make enough plays in that area. On the other side, I don't know if the Saints have the speed on defense to be able to counteract the Chiefs' offense with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and those playmakers that the Chiefs have and their explosiveness. The Saints have a good defense, but I don't know if they have the speed at the second level or at safety or really at corner to be able to play a style that can slow down the Chiefs. I think that might actually be an issue for them. Now, if the Saints D-line can just dominate the matchup, then maybe they're able to come out the winner here. But I like the Chiefs in this game. I don't think they're the greatest matchup, the Saints, for the Chiefs. I think this will actually give the Saints defense more issues than we've seen this year, or at least recently them have. And I think Mahomes will outduel whichever quarterback is on the other side. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a serious issue for this defense. And I think the Chiefs will win the game. I also expect the Chiefs to cover this game as well. I think they should win by 4 to 6, maybe a touchdown, somewhere around there. Could the Saints win? Yes. I wouldn't be shocked if Drew Brees were there. I think it gives them a better chance. But I expect the Chiefs to win. I think the Chiefs will come and rise to the occasion and pull out the win. So, Kansas City for me. I could see why you picked the Chiefs, but I could see why you picked the Saints, but I'm going with the Chiefs. All right, next, Sunday Night Football. The Cleveland Browns at the New York Giants. The Cleveland Browns are favored by 4.5 points in this game. I don't want to fully embrace the Cleveland hype because I don't want to get fully engulfed in, oh, Baker's the man, he's playing so good right now. Cleveland's legit. Like, I don't want to be buying too much into the narrative. I think that's always a bad idea when you're determining who's going to win games. And on the flip side, the Giants, Daniel Jones looked horrible. He was hurt last week. The Cardinals just destroyed him. But it's hard not to buy into those narratives this week. You look at this matchup, I think the Browns should win and should cover. I think this might be one of my best bets. The Browns offense looks really, really good, like a well-oiled machine right now. I love the way that they're running the ball. I love the way they're utilizing play action and boots and the screen game and whatever it takes to make Baker comfortable. I really, really like that. I think Cleveland is just a better team here. It's not close. I think the Giants may be slightly overrated from a couple of their performances beating Seattle. I don't know if Daniel Jones is fully healthy here. I don't know if their offensive line can handle the Browns' pass rush, which is very underrated, especially Myles Garrett, who should have 3 sacks in this game. I think the Browns win. I think the Browns cover, and I think the Browns show us once again they are a legitimate team. They're here, guys. They're here. I am believing in Baker to be good enough once again to win this game versus a team that he should beat. He should beat this team. The Browns should beat this team. I think Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt have good games here. The one thing that really impressed me with the Browns, and this is something that's kind of flown over the radar, or under the radar, is Kevin Stefanski is their OC. He is calling their plays. But what we saw from the Browns, and while I was doing that commentary, I didn't actually know this until today. The Browns have Chad O'Shea on their staff, on their offensive staff. Chad O'Shea is from the Patriots. Chad O'Shea was the offensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins last year. And what we saw in that game last week versus Baltimore on Monday, remember when the Browns were going empty and they were running all those empty routes to pass the ball versus Baltimore? That's something that New England used to do all the time to Baltimore. So it almost makes me believe that Stefanski is like implementing his system while taking creative ideas from other elements of his staff, which I think truly speaks to a great coach. So I feel like Stefanski is going to continue to do that, and he gives me confidence that he'll put Baker in this offense in the right position to succeed in this matchup. Not only can he be successful versus Baltimore, but he can be successful versus the Giants. he's been successful versus a Colts defense. It seems like Stefanski has figured out as a head coach how to be game plan specific on the offensive side of the ball. He's yet to figure it out with his defense, but with his offense, he's been able to figure it out. So I think he'll come with a good approach to attack the Giants defense, good enough to win the game. And I do think that the defense with Myles Garrett and that pass rush is going to give Daniel Jones and that offense some issues. So I will take Cleveland to win and Cleveland to cover. All right. The Monday Night Football game is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. Pittsburgh minus 13 in the game. I don't care what the spread is. Pittsburgh is going to win and Pittsburgh is going to cover. If you need any more analysis than that, this is not the right place to get it, okay? Pittsburgh is still a good team despite losing 2 games. They are extremely angry and they are playing an awful quarterback and an awful team. There is no area of this game that makes me believe that the Bengals will win or be remotely close to winning this game. If Pittsburgh does not cover, they are in serious trouble. I don't care that it's a divisional game. It's on Monday Night freaking Football, guys. If they do not cover this game, it's serious issues. Serious issues. Pittsburgh needs to win by double digits, double possessions, whatever it is. They need to win by at least the spread. At least. I'm telling you, if they do not, it's concerning. Concerning. I get it, Pittsburgh sucked the last couple of weeks. But Pittsburgh's still a playoff team. They're still a good team. And they should destroy Cincinnati without a problem. There it is. Week number 15 of the 2020 NFL season. Those are my picks, straight up and versus the spread. If you enjoyed, Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL just like this. Let's get to the comments. Let's get to your thoughts on week 15 and any questions you have. So let me know with any questions you guys have right now. And go. Ultra says, nah, the Steelers win 31-19. Bengals will never beat the Steelers. Learn that lesson. What's up, Michael? What's up, bro? What's up, Bethel? Bethel's a big Steelers fan. What's up, Dawn? What's up, Matt? He says, go Bengals. Justin? How you doing, man? Dino? What's going on, guys? Turkant says the Steelers offense can't cover versus anybody. Bethel says, Mitch, I'm sorry. As a Steelers fan, I'm telling you straight, we are not covering. You better. You better. What's up, Hunter? Cameron says, non-football question. What kind of microphone do you use? I'm looking to get one for Christmas. This is a Blue Yeti. I'll show you the front so you can see it. It's what it looks like. There you go. Hopefully that helps. Dylan says, what's up? What's up, Dylan? Mitch says, are you excited for this week, you versus Turkant? I'm excited for the game, yes. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be doing this stream just because I might be watching the games with a friend because we are in the semifinals of the big league in fantasy, so we want to watch all the games together. So if he wants to join the live stream, then we'll do it live, but if not, I'll probably just be watching the game. But we could still be in voice chat or whatever. Michael says close game, but the Chargers win. Okay. Don says, Mitch, my Lions about to get this front office thing right. Did you like the report that came out today? I know you saw that. Seahawks and Lions fan says, what's up? What's up, man? I'm pretty good. Pretty good. So hopefully you guys checked out the playoff bubble video that I did, or Super Bowl bubble video that I did. If you didn't already check it out, make sure you do. Came out this morning. If you're intrigued about me ranking the contenders and how big of a chance you think they have, or I think they have, winning the Super Bowl. Hunter says, should the Colts re-sign Rivers or go for a quarterback in free agency? I don't think Rivers is going to come back. I think he's going to retire, but I could be wrong. How do you pronounce your name? Ijoma? That's probably way wrong. I'm so wrong on that pronunciation. Samuel says, should Dak want to stay in Dallas? I don't see why not. You don't like Riddick? Ultra says, I want Brian Daboll as the next Falcons coach. What's your thoughts on him? I like him. I think he's a really good play caller, as we've seen this year and last year as well. I think he has a good foundation of being a part of multiple successful organizations, from the Buffalo organization to New England to Alabama. He's been a part of a lot of good teams, and he's been under a lot of smart football people, and I think he's gotten multiple perspectives. So I think it's time for him to get an opportunity, and I feel he is pretty good. I think he, especially at the first thing he'll do is he'll bring at least good offense to your team, which is good. Bethel says, Dolphins are going to win. The only reason they didn't win week 1 was because they didn't have film for Cam Newton, Josh McDaniels' offense without a preseason, so they'll be much more prepared. That's a fair point. I won't dismiss that point. That's a fair point. Connor says, do you think Robert Saleh will leave the Niners? Probably. The way that people are talking about it, probably. Matt says, do you think the Jets should use their number 1 pick for a new quarterback or keep Darnold? Yes, they should. I don't care. Darnold's good, solid, I think. Solid, but he hasn't proven anything that he's worth keeping over a potentially generational quarterback. So I would not do that. William says, Chiefs. William's really going to like my next video essay. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. Fritz says, go Buccaneers. Yes, sir. Brian says, unlike Coward, you praised Baker. He said that Cleveland lost because they paid what? He said that Cleveland lost because they paid too much for Baker's weapons. When in reality they had secondary starters out. Jeez, Brian. You killed me with that comment. But yeah, I mean, certain people won't take their takes back. I feel, as much as I like Coward, there's certain guys out there that it's part of their gimmick, right? And I understand that. And it's part of Colin's gimmick and his business to have a certain take on Baker Mayfield. So I understand why he does it, and I understand why he didn't take it back. I also said, I'm not taking my analysis back. Do I think Baker is better than I said he was at the beginning of the season? Yes. So I said that. When he has a good game, will I say that? Yes. But am I going to sit here and say he's like this special quarterback? No, I don't think that to be true. So basically, Brian, I'm just giving you what I thought. Baker played his best game I saw him play, and he deserves credit for that. And when you self-scout yourself, you should self-scout yourself. You should be able to say when things are good and things are bad, and you shouldn't have to stick to just one take. So that's kind of my opinion on that. Do you think Matt Eberflus gets a head coaching job? No, I don't think so. The offseason will be crazy. Myron says Saints with the flex. 2 flexes. Samuel says, what has been the difference for DK this season than last? Experience in the NFL, experience playing top corners, experience. Chemistry with Russell Wilson. Getting the ball more. And I think just mostly experience and confidence. Honestly, he already had all the physical gifts, so it's not really that. Probably learning the offense to a certain degree, and that's basically it. Andy says, who will win? I don't know what game you're talking about. Skoll says Minnesota could be 8-4, but could be 4-9. Oof. Skoll, before the season, we said, or I said at least, that this was a step back for Minnesota before they could take a step forward. I believe in their team. I believe in their organization. I think they will be good next year, but we'll just have to see what they do in the offseason. Seahawks and Lions fan says, Mitch, do you think my Lions will win another game this season? Depends if Stafford plays. Matt says Tom Brady has more interceptions than Darnold. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Actually, if you want to check something, Russell Wilson and Tom Brady have identical stats. Dylan says, Mitch, what do you think the best game of the week is going to be? The best game of the week? Could be New England and Miami. I don't know. I don't really, if I'm being honest, I don't love this week that much. I don't think there's that many good games. I don't think it's going to be the Chiefs game. It's probably going to be a game that we don't expect. Let me just look, though. James says Minnesota or Chicago. I'm leaning towards Chicago, but I don't really know. What's another game? Eagles-Cardinals could be exciting. Even the Thursday night game, even though it doesn't mean a lot, could be pretty good. Didn't Darnold miss a bunch of games, though? All right. Any more questions? Yeah, this week's not the greatest. There's been better weeks for sure. But all these games matter, baby. Random dude says, what would the Giants' record be with Saquon? Maybe one game better. As good as Saquon is, I don't know how much of an impact he actually, running backs actually have on wins and losses. Maybe 1 or 2 games better. I don't know. Maybe he's able to break 1 or 2 plays in a game or 2 that is the difference, but I don't know. King Blake says Browns versus Giants, and do you think we can make a run in the playoffs? You're saying that's the best game? And I'm not sure, King, who you're talking about. If you're talking about the Browns, I think they can win a playoff game, but I don't know how far they can go. I don't think they'll be able to win multiple playoff games, in my opinion. Myron says, do you think Sean will start Jameis Winston? I'm going to say no, but I don't know. Maybe. What could be a big upset game this week? Who could be a big upset? So I wouldn't be shocked if Washington beats Seattle. Or if technically New England's an underdog, but that's not really a big upset. I would say the Eagles and Washington are probably the two teams that as underdogs have the best chance for maybe picking up the win. Austin says Deshaun Watson or Justin Herbert in fantasy. I would go with Herbert. Who's MVP? You will find out on my next video essay. People are going to be absolutely rattled when they see it. Samuel says, what's your favorite NBA team? Skoll says, redraft the 2020 NFL draft. I don't even remember who got picked where, to be honest. And I don't know if I want to do that right now, but let me check. Let me do it for you. And then we'll take off. So, 2020 NFL draft. It's already so soon, though. Are you talking about just the top 10? Like the whole thing? Because then I got to go through the whole thing, bro. Name a good quarterback with a bad team. Deshaun Watson. I would say Joe Burrow is still the first pick. I would say Washington should have selected Justin Herbert. I would say number 3 should have been Chase Young. Instead, if Herbert goes 2, Young goes 3 to Detroit. Number 4, I would say that it should have been Becton instead of Thomas. At number 5, Miami, they could pick Tua. I'm not hugely in love with Tua, but we'll stay with that. At number 6, if LA doesn't get Herbert, I think they end up getting probably a tackle. So let's just say that ends up being Tristan Wirfs. Then you have at number 7, Carolina. Derek Brown's all right. I think there's probably better players they could have picked. Who would they pick, though? I mean, we could stay with that. It's not a bad pick. Although, I don't know if Kinlaw is not better than Brown, though. So, Number 8, I don't think it would be Isaiah Simmons. I think, honestly, the Cardinals should have picked a receiver. A receiver or an offensive lineman. I think they should have just surrounded Kyler with more talent. Imagine if they had Hopkins and, CeeDee or Justin Jefferson. I mean, damn. Number 9, CJ Henderson. I mean, you could have picked anybody there. Anybody would have been a good pick. Jacksonville has no team. But I like CJ Henderson kind of. So, yeah, that's probably the top 10. I don't know. I didn't want to go through the whole draft. But that's just looking at the first round. Seems about right to me. Where's Turtle been? I don't know. Probably sleeping. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, if you did enjoy, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. It's Mitch of The Bottom Line View. Thanks for watching. Peace.